What's up guys, Triple Cap here, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. I'm doing a video about the top 10 FPV Spectator question and answers. These are the top 10 questions that almost all of us FPV guys are asked when we're out in the field flying and some spectator comes across us. This is the top 10, at least from my experience anyway, and I'm sure some of you have experienced these same questions. So we're going to get right into it with question number 10. We're going to start with 10 and work our way all the way down to number 1. So here we go. Let's get into it now.
Question 10.
Hey man, how high does that thing get up to?
All right, that's a good question. Question 10. How high does this thing go? Well, like many of these answers that I'm about to give you, much of this stuff is determined by your equipment. Legally speaking, we can go up to 400 feet according to the FAA. Of course, equipment providing, we can go much higher than that. You can go into the clouds, you can go to if you've got the right equipment, hell, you can go to space if you really want to. But for all intents and purposes for us FPV guys, we usually don't fly that high. We're usually flying mostly pretty low to the ground. We might dive some building tops or something. The highest we usually go is the tops of trees, maybe the tops of buildings. We don't usually go much higher than that, but they do have the ability to go pretty high. I mean, we're talking miles up into the air. So by law, we have to stay around 400 feet, but yes, the quad can go much higher than that. It just depends on the equipment that you've got set up. All right, let's get on to the next question. That's enough about this one.
That's cool, man. How fast is it?
Well, never heard that question before. I'm sure no one is saying. How fast does it go? Well, again, like I said, many of these answers are going to be equipment dependent, and this one meets that criteria. Depending on what equipment you got, what type of batteries you're running, whether you're running 4S, 5S, 6S, 150S. Depending on what equipment you're running, these things can run anywhere from 25 miles an hour, which is probably the smaller, mini whoops and whatever, the little smaller quads. When you get into the racing quads and the faster ones, so they're running 4S, 5S, 6S and up, you're looking anywhere from, all right, starting with the small quads, about 20, 25 miles an hour, maybe a little faster than that. Moving on to the faster quads, you're 100 miles an hour. Yep, that's it. According to the FAA, no more than that. We don't go faster than 100 miles an hour. No, in reality, these drones can go much faster than that. The FAA regulates us at 100 miles an hour. That's as fast as we're supposed to go, according to the FAA. But these drones will definitely go faster than that. My little drone, it won't push 100. I don't think it'll exceed 100 miles an hour. Mine, I've topped it out at like 76 miles an hour. That's the fastest mine's ever gone. And that's me really trying to push it. But yeah, they'll go up to 200 miles an hour. All right, on to the next question.
Question 8.
Hey, bub, you got a camera on that thing?
Do I have a camera on that thing? Not only do I have a camera on that thing, I have 2 cameras on that thing. Most drones do have cameras. There are some that are probably flying around that don't carry cameras, but for FPV and our intent and purpose, we require an FPV camera at the very least, and in most cases, an HD camera as well. So we have one camera that transmits the video from the craft to our goggles that we wear to pilot these things. And we have another camera that we put on top or somewhere else on the quad, usually on top, that records the HD footage that you usually are viewing. The quality of the video that's coming into our goggles is not really HD footage. It's actually very noisy and broken up, and it's analog footage, and it's not the best of quality, but it's very low in latency, so it's what works best. DJI has come up with the new HD system, so there is that. But for most intents and purposes, analog video is what a lot of us are using. That's changing. I think a lot of people are going to digital, but there's still a demand for analog. And if you look in my background back here, that breakup and static, that's kind of what it looks like on an FPV camera. It's very staticky, lots of little lines. I mean, sometimes some are clearer than others. It depends. If there's any kind of trees or anything in your view, that interference is what's being shown as noise and lines and stuff. On to the next question.
Question 7.
Hey, bro, how's she doing the wind?
This is an interesting question because here recently in the last few days, we've had some very windy weather. I know, at least in my area. And how does it handle in the wind? Handles pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie. Now, don't get me wrong. You get these 30, 40 mile an hour gusts. Yeah, it can push you around a little bit, but it handles it. It can push through it. Like I said, these things run anywhere from 50 to 100 to 150 to 100 miles an hour. And so they can push through the wind as long as the wind doesn't exceed that speed. Now, it's not recommended to really fly in high windy conditions. When you're fighting the wind, it takes a little bit of the fun out of it. I mean, it'll push you around a little bit, and it just takes away your accuracy and your flow, your smoothness. It messes things up a little bit. So it's not recommended to really fly in like anything higher than like 20 miles an hour. But as far as like any 15, 20 mile an hour winds, it's not that bad. I fly in them all the time. The last couple of days, we've had 30 plus mile an hour winds around here, and I haven't skipped a beat. I'm still flying. But yeah, it's not super recommended to fly in high speed winds, but yeah, they can handle the wind pretty damn well. So there you go. On to the next question.
Question 6.
Don't you need a pilot's license for that thing?
Do we need a license? Good question. Good question. Again, this is a question that's going to bring up the FAA, because here's the thing. If you're making money off of your videos, if you're monetized on YouTube, if you're a racer and you win prize money, if you're filming real estate locations, or you're doing something for the movie industry, or if you're doing anything that would generate some kind of income, then yeah, you need a Part 107 license, which you get through the FAA and the process. You've got to, I think, is there a test? I think there's a Part 107 test you've got to take. And this is only if your drone flying involves making money. Now, if you're a hobbyist or recreational type person, you're building your own drones just to fly them, or just for fun, you're no intent on making any money or anything like that, no, you don't need a license. You do need to, I believe this law is still in effect, where you have to register your drone. Any drone over 0.55 pounds, you have to register, which is almost every drone that is flown in FPV, except for maybe like the little tiny whoops and stuff. So yeah, if you're a hobbyist, you don't really need a license. You just need to register your drone. You need to follow the FAA regulations and laws and stuff that they've got set. You can't fly over 400 feet. You can't fly faster than 100 miles an hour. You can't fly over crowds of people or anything like that. There's a community guidelines type of rules that we've all established and we try to follow. So there's that. And the only time you would be required to, at least for now, this is probably going to change. These rules are changing all the time. And I wouldn't be surprised if next month there's a new rule that says, yeah, you do have to have a license. But it wouldn't surprise me. The FAA is all on our backs. But anyways, if you're making money, you need a Part 107 license. If you're not making money, you just need to register your drone and you can fly. Everybody who has a drone that weighs over a certain, I think it's 0.55 pounds, you have to register your drone. But you don't necessarily have to have a license unless you're monetizing your drone usage. On to the next one.
Question 5.
Does that got GPS?
No, well, not. How do you answer this question? Okay, here's how we answer this question. Yes. And no. Some pilots, some FPV pilots do run GPS, not for the reasons that GPS is usually used in drones per se, but they use it to track their speed and for recovery purposes. In most situations, an FPV pilot is not going to have a GPS system on their drone. We don't really need it. We run in a mode called acro mode, and that gives us complete, total control over the quad. It lets us roll on all axes. We have total control. GPS, when you have GPS on a drone, the GPS is in control in most cases. GPS is usually used for photography, videography type drones that's mainly required for very, very stable footage. For flat, horizontal, totally stable footage. That is nothing like what we do in FPV. In FPV, we're doing this. We're all over the place. We're not stable. We're not horizontal. So GPS would be a hindrance to us. So no, in most cases we don't use GPS, but there is some use for it on our quads. For example, like I said, tracking speed and recovery, stuff like that. So we might have some limited uses for GPS, but in overall, no, we don't really use GPS for any type of stabilization or anything like that, or anything that is usually used, GPS is used for. We don't really care about how high we are, except for to keep us under 400 feet, of course. But like I said, we don't even usually go close to that. On to the next question.
Question 4.
So how far can you go with it?
Okay, this question is good. It's kind of related to how high can you go. It's pretty much the same principle. It depends on the equipment you have. It depends on what receivers and transmitters you're using. There are some receivers and transmitters that will let you go miles and miles and miles and miles, and there are some that will let you go, a few hundred yards. So my particular drone, I've never taken it really to its limit, so I don't know how far it'll go. But I can tell you this: it'll go 3 football fields without a problem. I may have even taken it farther than that without realizing it, but it depends on the equipment. These drones can be equipped to go for miles. You could literally, if you've got a McDonald's 5 miles away, you could literally fly your drone to McDonald's. Provided, now here's a kicker, one thing that does matter is obstructions, whether it be trees, buildings, hills, mountains. Anything that can potentially block your signal and make this little staticky stuff you see back here even much, much worse, or possibly even cause you to lose RC signal, which will cause you to fail safe and plummet to the ground to your death. Provided there is there's an obstruction-free area where you're flying and there's no obstacles in the way whatsoever, you can fly for miles, provided you have the right equipment as well. By law, we can't necessarily take it out of our visual line of sight without certain waivers and, adhering to certain regulations. So anyways, yeah, they go pretty far. On to the next question.
Question 3.
Can you spy on people with that thing?
Really? Really, old man? Really? Really? Can you... What? Get the fuck out of here, you perp. No, you can't spy on people with anything. That's not... Look, all right, number one, you see the video in the background? That's what most of us are seeing. You're not spying on people with that shit. Number two, even our HD videos, they're super wide-angle lenses. We have this thing called Super View. And it's really wide. It doesn't show much detail. It's not like you're going to be flying next to somebody and recording their driver's license or their credit card information or flying into... Come on, guys. If somebody is going to spy on you with a drone, they're going to spy on you with a drone. Anybody whose first thought when they see a drone is that thing must be spying on somebody. You got problems, bruh. Not everybody's out to get you. Come on. Take a freaking chill pill. No, you can't spy on people with these things. And why would you want to, pervert? Get out of here. On to the next question.
Question 2.
So how much does that thing cost?
All right, well, this question is flexible because it depends. It always depends, again, on equipment. Depends on your budget. But I have a very, very tiny budget, a very low budget, and I can afford to fly. So you can too, more than likely. It all depends on how much you want to put into it. I mean, how much you want to get out of it. My drone, my personal drone, the drone itself, just the drone. We're not talking about getting into the hobby, but just the drone itself. I'm not even going to include the camera, the HD camera, because that's a little big expense as well. But just the drone itself is probably $200. You can build it $200 easy. The expense that comes in is all the other stuff and maintaining what you have. It's your HD camera. It's your goggles that you wear. It's all the repairs from crashing time and time again. It's the addiction that makes you want to build more and more and more. You'll have drones coming out your ears. That's where the money goes. But yeah, $200 will get you a drone built. If you really want to get into the hobby, you're probably looking at close to $1,000 investment, to be completely honest. You can get it a little lower than that, but you're dealing with bare minimum stuff, bare minimum equipment, budget everything, and I don't recommend that. That's the route I took, and it's been a long route, and I'm still in that route. I'm still using budget stuff. and it stifles my progress, and I know that it does. My goggles, for example, I have Teleporter V5. These goggles are like 5 years old. They've been out forever. For me, they're only like three and a half years old, but technically they were out like a year and a half longer than that. But these goggles have a 25-degree field of view. That means I'm looking at a screen that's like this big. It's freaking tiny. It's tiny. Whereas there are other goggles that have like a 50-degree, just twice that. It's like this big, you know? And that's in my eye. That's okay. That, man, realistically speaking, $1,000 should get you pretty comfortable. You should be able to get a decent pair of goggles, get your drone built, get your radio, everything that you need. Batteries another expense. That might not be including a camera though, an HD, a GoPro. We use GoPros. GoPros alone are, a good one is $300, $250-$300. So you're looking at some money. How much does it cost? It costs a lot. All right, that's enough of that. You're gonna spend a lot of fucking money. On to the next question.
Question.
Can I try to fly it?
No, you cannot try. Get the hell out of here, kid. What are you, 4? No, you can't fly my drone. Are you out of your mind? I don't care if you're 50. You don't just pick up this radio that I've got here in my hand, imaginary radio. You don't just pick this thing up and start flying with it. It doesn't work. It doesn't say, hey, let me try. No! Did you just miss the last question? You see how much money's in this thing? No, you cannot fly my drone. If you already know how to fly a drone, sure, maybe I'll let you fly my drone. But if you're some spectator out there that's caught me in the park and you're like, hey, man, let me give it a shot. Fuck you! Get the hell out of here. You can watch. Here, I got a spare pair of goggles I'll let you view. You can watch and you'll fall in love and you're going to want to be buying your own drone. But you're not flying mine. So no, you cannot fly my drone. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up this episode of the top 10 FPV Spectator question and answers for today. I appreciate you watching. I hope you appreciate this awesome intellect and this new information that I'm sure you didn't know, presented to you in this hilarious, kind of stupid way. What? Oh, who the fuck cares? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Caps out. Get out of here. Get.